Imagine a time before civilization. No cities, no smartphones, not even written language, just the earth, the sky, and survival. But even in these harsh, primal landscapes, the human story was already unfolding. From the first spark of fire to the rise of the earliest urban centers, this is the untold story of the prehistoric era. A journey across nearly 2.5 million years of innovation, migration, and transformation that paved the way for everything we know today. So buckle in, because we're traveling deep into the past, to an era where instincts ruled, but brilliance was being born. Let's travel back, way back. The African savanna, 2.5 million years ago. No buildings, no cars, just open land, roaming predators, and a fragile species finding its way. Here, Homo habilis, handyman, is doing something extraordinary. He picks up a stone and hits it with another. The result? A jagged edge, a simple blade. This might seem insignificant, but in that moment, humanity takes its first step away from the animal kingdom. These early stone tools, found at sites like Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania, weren't just weapons, they were surviving. They meant meat from a carcass, marrow from bones, and defense from danger. And perhaps they gave the first hint of human intention, the desire to shape the world, not just react to it. But nature remained merciless. Life was short, prey was scarce. Yet slowly, over hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors learned. And then came a miracle: fire. Nobody knows precisely when or where it happened. But we do know that by at least 1 million years ago, humans had learned to control fire. Picture this. Night falls, predators circle, but a group of humans sits beside flickering flames. Their faces glow with warmth and safety. They are no longer helpless. They cook food, which makes nutrients more accessible. They sit together, and perhaps for the first time, they tell stories. Fire changed everything. It created community, extended waking hours, and may even have shaped language and brain development. Time moves forward. Earth shifts, species rise and fall. And around 300,000 years ago, something extraordinary happened. Homo sapiens appeared. Not just stronger, not just faster, but smarter. They stood upright, like others before them. But behind their eyes burned something different. Imagination, abstraction, emotion. Their tools weren't just sharper, they were purposeful. Their shelters weren't just covers, they were crafted. They began painting inside caves, not just to decorate, but perhaps to communicate. The Lascaux and Chauvet caves in France, thousands of years old, show animals, hunts, and symbols painted in ochre, charcoal, and iron oxide. But here's the untold truth. These weren't crude doodles. Some researchers believe they show a kind of early memory system, or spiritual belief, the beginning of art, myth, and culture. Homo sapiens also began burying their dead with tools and ornaments. That means they imagined an afterlife. Grief, ritual, faith. All of it begins here. And then these dreamers began to walk. From Africa, they spread, first into the Middle East, then farther into Europe, Asia, the islands of the Pacific, and eventually the Americas. Their footprints crossed deserts, rivers, mountains, and ice. One group, thousands of years ago, likely walked across the Bering Land Bridge, connecting Siberia to Alaska during the Ice Age. That trek? Brutal, frigid, relentless. Yet they did it. They crossed into a new world because survival wasn't enough anymore. Humans were driven by something more profound, the need to discover. After hundreds of thousands of years living off the land, something astonishing happens. People stop moving. Why? Because they learn how to control nature. Around 10,000 BCE in the Fertile Crescent, a sweeping arc of rich land from the Nile to the Tigris and Euphrates, humans began to plant seeds, wheat, barley, lentils. They stopped chasing animals and start herding them. Goats, sheep, pigs, cattle. This shift is called the Neolithic Revolution, and it changes everything. No longer do people wander for food. Instead, food comes to them, and so do others. Settlements grow, homes are built, entire villages spring to life. For the first time in human history, children are born in the same place where their grandparents died. But there's a price. Farming is hard, it's risky. One bad harvest can mean starvation, and agriculture brings something else, inequality. Now, some people have more land, more grain, more power. Society is no longer just about survival, it's about status. Still, the benefits are enormous. With stability comes time. Time to make pottery, to weave fabrics, to invent tools like the plow and the sickle. And perhaps, most profoundly, people begin to imagine gods of the harvest, the sun, the sky. Religion takes root, and humanity begins to build not just houses, but belief systems. In southern Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, lies one of the most mysterious sites in human history, Çatalhöyük. It's not just a settlement, it's a symbol of human ambition. Founded around 7,500 BCE, Çatalhöyük may be the first true urban center. Imagine this. Thousands of people living in tightly packed rectangular homes. No roads, no alleys, homes were accessed through ladders on rooftops. Entire families lived, worked, and worshipped in multi-room homes built from mud brick. But what makes Çatalhöyük so special isn't just its size, it's its soul. Inside these homes, archaeologists found elaborate murals of leopards, bulls, and mysterious geometric symbols. Walls painted with hunting scenes, dances, and even what some believe is the earliest map in history, a layout of the city beneath a volcanic mountain. People were buried beneath the floors of their homes, often in the fetal position, accompanied by items that may have had emotional or ritual value. Beads, tools, even the horns of bulls. And scattered throughout the site are figurines, most famously, the seated woman of Çatalhöyük, believed to represent a mother goddess. Powerful, protective, divine. Çatalhöyük wasn't just a place to live, it was a place to belong, a place where early humans found meaning, in art, in death, in connection. The prehistoric era often gets dismissed as before history. But the truth, it was the foundation. Everything we think of as modern, government, religion, language, love, war, was born in the minds of people who lived without metal, without writing, without cities. They were not savages. They were pioneers. They looked at a blank world, and they filled it with meaning. They turned flint into knives. They turned caves into galleries. They turned seeds into cities. And the most beautiful thing of all, they left no words, yet they spoke volumes. Their tools whisper of innovation. Their bones speak of struggle. Their art sings of dreams. Closing, an invitation to wander. We are the children of those fire makers, those seed planters, those wanderers who stared at the stars and wondered. The prehistoric era is not a footnote. It is our origin myth, written not in ink, but in earth and ash. So the next time you light a fire, or share a story, or plant a garden, remember, you're continuing a legacy 2.5 million years in the making, and we've only just begun to uncover it.